Hey guys, welcome back to Cheney's TCG Store. Today I'm back with another market watch following the Forbidden Limited list that got released yesterday. I'm not going to go too much into the Forbidden list other than just saying what I think the impacts are on the market and I guess just the game overall, since I'm sure you've already seen the list at this point. But before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and announce the winner for the giveaway that I announced in the last video. The winner is Jared Deese. I believe that's how you would say that, but apologize if I mispronounced it. But I left you my email address underneath your comment. If you would just email me your shipping address, and then I will get that sent to you as soon as I can. Probably won't be right away because of Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna be out of state. But if you do get that back to me tomorrow, then I'll try to get it sent out. But yeah, thanks to everyone who participated. Excited to be at 500 at this point. It's very cool. But we'll go ahead and get into the market watch. So just a quick recap here if you missed the list. Not too many changes, but Curious got banned. My opinion, kind of stupid because it's not really seeing that much play, but they might have just wanted to clean it up for the future, which I can kind of get. Mystic Mine is finally banned. Very happy about that. I wish they would have done this in the last list, but I guess better late than never. And Herald of Orange Light to 1. I thought that this was kind of, I get what they were trying to do here, but I thought this was kind of arbitrary, especially since it seems like Herald of Orange Light is kind of phasing out of tier elements a little bit. A lot of players are playing it at 1 copy anyways, so I think they kind of missed the mark here, but this is a card that I can foresee not being on the ban list for long. So if you do want to get your Herald of Orange Lights, I would maybe look at doing that soon. Not the ultimate rare. I would keep waiting for that to fall a little bit more, but definitely going to be a good opportunity to pick those up. Because my thoughts are when they do eventually hit tier limits for real, that's something they're probably going to release back off the ban list. I would think at least. Other than that, we have Recital Starling coming to 2, which is interesting. I'm really happy that they did this. I thought it was a little harsh to put it to 1. I get that Tri Brigade was good, but really Lyrilusc never really got a chance to see that much play before it was, unplayable after that set released. I guess that was maybe, I think it was last year. And then we got Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. I hope that's right. It was forbidden, now it's to 3, which I think is fair. This card is pretty good, but to get like the broken effects, it's pretty hard to get to. It's not impossible by any means, but you have to go through like a pretty complicated combo line and hope that you don't get hand trapped at any point. So I'm fine with that being back. Dimensional Fissure at 3, and then Macrocosmo at 3. It looks like to me this is their way to combat tier elements without actually hitting the deck super hard. I mean, they did hit Orange Light, but again, I don't think that that's really going to change anything. These 2 cards will change things a little bit. A lot of decks can't play these, so it's not going to be like everybody against tier elements playing this because a lot of decks can't play through this at all, which is kind of the problem I have with this method, where it's like, let's just release something from the ban list that absolutely kills the best deck, because a lot of other decks are going to get in the hit in the crossfire, which is going to be the case. I mean, there's countless decks that this would absolutely annihilate if this is flipped over. Metaverse at 3 is fine. We don't have Mystic Mine anymore, but I'm glad that they brought this back off to 3 because there are a lot of decks that kind of revolve around playing a field spell, so that'll be fun to play with, see what you can do with it. Tanky back at 3, I think that's fine. Tri Brigade's kind of fallen off the map a little bit. So giving them 2 Recital Starlings and 3 Tankies, I think is pretty good for them. Hopefully that will give them a nice little boost. But to be honest, I don't think Tri Brigade's gonna, get hyper competitive again until they get some orc back. Just kind of how it is. But if some orc comes back, then they'd have to ban the barrier statue. So I get it. That probably won't come back for a long time. But that's really all the changes here. But moving on, the first card I wanted to look at is Herald of Orange Light. So the ultimate rare is $100 for near mint, which is not bad at all, considering it was just about 160. But I do think this will go much lower, probably in the 65, 70s. and I'll be looking to pick it up if it gets down to that price range. So if you're looking to get these, I would just wait and see what happens. But I do suspect the ultimate rare will come down. A lot of the other copies might inch down, like for the commons, but the super rares I think are kind of pretty low. So if you need one of those, I would just go ahead and grab it. You don't have to wait. Commons here, $4.50. Commons, $9 for a battle pack. For whatever reason, that's still pretty high. Duelist Genesis around $5s. And then the super rare is the cheapest copy at $3.94. A really good price here if you need to pick yours up. And if you're going to pick them up, honestly, I would probably just go ahead and get a play set of them. Why not? Just in case it comes back, which again, I think there's a good chance that it will come back once they fully hit tier limits instead of just like trying to beat around the bush. Next is Macrocosmo. I do suspect, Flunderies is probably going to be playing this card. I could be wrong. But if you can play Macrocosmo right now, I would definitely do it just because it's really going to shut down tier limits really hard. But these are going for $15 for the raw yellow mega pack ultra rares. And I'm not going to even cover the DRV, but it's like $150. But if you remember, I think I talked about this card a long time ago because I picked up a few of these and I had it on my market watch, and it was a card that I said to pick up when they were like $3 to $4. And if you did pretty good because they are in that 15 range. I can't remember if I have the legendary collection or the raw yellow mega pack. They're basically the same, but these are going for 21 for the legendary collection too. Hopefully this is what I have, and I think it is. Dual terminals are like 8 to 10. It's not showing up because I have it filtered for first edition. And then commons are 6s. Yeah, pretty much in the $6 range for commons here. It's still not too pricey considering it is at 3 now. So if you need them, I mean, I don't really foresee the price falling back down too much. It could trickle like a couple of dollars on these ultra rares, but I kind of doubt it. I think any deck that can play these is going to be playing these. But if you're not going to be using the card, I would just go ahead and offload it. If you have a couple of copies laying around, I'm going to offload mine, make a nice quick buck. I am trying to decide if I want to just kind of mess around with S4 at locals, because I know a lot of people play tier limits at my locals, and I honestly think that I could probably do pretty decent if I played Macrocosmo and Dimension Shifter. Just because that deck wants to banish its monsters anyways. But other than that, you kind of need a Mystic Mind for that deck, so it's pretty hard. And if it plays any other deck that isn't graveyard reliant, it's going to get absolutely blown out. So, but it would be kind of fun to play. I do like playing that deck for fun, but it's a terrible deck. But it's also cheap if you wanted to pick it up and mess around with it. For Dimensional Fissure here, we have 125 plus for the super rare. Not surprising. This card has been around $100 for a long time. Secret rares are going for around 18 to 20. For first editions, you're probably looking more towards like 25 to 30 now. And same for the raw yellow mega pack, which is not too bad, honestly, all things considered. Not that bad of a price point. Doesn't look like the market price has really moved that much. Or let's say that the market price is 21, and it doesn't like the prices of the actual cards have moved that much above or under. So surprising that these haven't been more cleaned out, but again, it's like deck dependent because not every deck can run these. Dual Saga 1150, not too bad. Dual Saga always does look nice. And then your rares from DRV4 are 28. Enemy of Justice commons are around 6s, and then your structure decks are around 550. I would just go for the secret rares, honestly. But the Dual Saga is not bad either if you like those. I wanted to check in on Lyrilusc because the prices have been pretty cheap on these for a while, ever since Recital Starling got hit. But I do think these have potential to go back up in price, especially now that this deck is, semi-playable. They really benefit from having 3 Recital Starlings. Hopefully they'll bring it back to 3 copies. But yeah, if you want to play around with this deck, I think now's not a bad time to pick them up. Everything's still pretty cheap. You're looking at $2 for Bird Calls. Wagtails are under $1. Ensemble Robin is under $1, like 75 cents. And this is also a card that I think you should just have a few play sets of anyways. It's a compulsory evacuation device essentially, but it's not once per turn. It's pretty good card if you're playing a level 1 deck. You could play it pretty much any level 1 deck because it is generic. Yeah, everything is pretty much under $1 for this deck. So if you wanted to, come check it out, it's definitely worth it in my opinion. Trying to see what I think the draw card was Winged Requital or something like that. Almost forgot about this card. Basically just let you draw 2, which is pretty nice if you're playing like a Wing Beast strategy. Okay. These are 78 cents, pretty cheap. Looks like a lot of copies were bought yesterday. If all monsters you control are Wing Beast, and you control at least 2 with different names, pay 600 life points, draw 2 cards. This card's really free in Lyrilusc, which is really nice. So if you are playing that deck, like you need to be playing this at 3 copies, just helps you cycle through your deck for basically free. Next, I wanted to look at F-Zero because, again, you have Recital Starling back to 2 copies. So Lyrilusc is more viable, plus Tri-Brigade's a little bit more viable, or, Bird Up. But the Ultra Rares are $6-7. And it actually looks like these cards are starting to turn back around because the Secret Rares are at 5s, but then it immediately jumps to 7s. And these were down towards like $4 like on release. And these were down about around the same price, maybe just slightly more expensive. But yeah, now's a good time to pick them up. As you can see, listings are really low for the Secret Rares. I would go for the Secret Rares over the Ultras, but come get them while they're still, $5. You have 4 opportunities being from this one seller until it's at $7. Next is Crystal Revenge. So now that this set has had a little bit of time to settle, I wanted to take a look back, see what things are doing. Access code still $600. I would wait on this. I think this will come down. How low, I'm not sure. Probably not less than 400, but I could see this card touching like 450, 480, something like that. But if you want to pull the trigger, this card will eventually be probably $800+. No doubt in my mind. So, do with that what you will. Exodia at 320 makes sense. It's the head piece. If you were gonna buy one piece, this would be the one piece that you would buy, not just individual limbs. So I think that's fair. This could probably come down more in the short term. Long term, definitely a nice card to have. Savage Dragon at 213. Not too bad. Will this inch lower? It could. I think the bottom out point would probably be like 175 to 180. Because it is still 1 copy, and really the only decks playing this right now would be Dragon Link. Can't think of many others. I'm sure there are some like rogue synchro decks that you could play, like say, what's that deck called? Infernoble. But ever since Infernoble lost like Halqifibrax and Auroradon, well, I think Auroradon's back now actually, but it doesn't matter. Without Halq, they can't really get to this, I don't think. But 213 is also not bad if you just want to pick it up. It's very tempting for me. I would like to have this copy, but also you do have just the regular Prismatic Secret Rares, which are a good alternative too for a lot cheaper. Super Poly is at 200 to 220. Not worth it to me. I would rather have the Ultimate Rare. You can almost get 2 or 3 copies of the Ultimate Rare for 1 price of these. All the pieces around 160. Some of them are a little bit cheaper, like 150 here. Yeah, it looks like pretty much 150 to 160 across the board. I'm not really sure where I think the price is going to go on this. I do think it could probably go down towards like 120, 130 each, but it just depends. It'll be interesting to see, though. I feel like with the Lost Art, some of the limbs are randomly more expensive or cheaper than the others. So it's going to be interesting to see if this plays out the same. Yadas are at 150. I think this is going to continue to go down, probably around the 130, 125, 130 mark. But with the collectible cards, like from the original series, it's kind of hard to say. These do look great, though. And if they do go towards like 100, I would consider it as like an investment, but I don't think it's going to go that low. And maybe I would even want it to buy it for cheaper. If I saw somebody in person, I would probably offer them like 50% value or something, even though they probably wouldn't take it. But that's where I'd be at with it. Just too risky. And well, not really risky. It's just something you're gonna have to hold on to for a long time to, get your money back out of. Armor Masters. I don't really see these going anywhere. 124 is pretty low, but I haven't seen Black Wings do anything. Collection wise, people do collect like Black Wings, but it's not as strong as some of the other like archetypes that people like. Access code at 25. It's good to see a secret rare copy for 25 bucks. This was, the other secret rare was like $100 plus for a long time. I actually haven't looked at the original prints, but I imagine they're probably like 35, 40 still. I would get the original print if you're going for one or the other, but if you just want a nice looking secret rare for, 10, 15 bucks cheaper, it's not terrible to get the reprint. But if you can, get the original print. Savage Dragon at 7. It's about where I expected. These are always good to pick up. So if you see someone in person, I would just grab their extra copies, especially if you can get a good deal on them. But look for this card to go lower, and it's definitely a good thing to pick up for the future. Celine's, I think these will go lower than where they're at now. I wouldn't be surprised if these bottom out towards like $3 or $4, but we'll have to see. Kind of the hard thing with that is the set can't lose too much more value. The card prices are pretty low. There's not really that much value in this set, other than just the Starlight rares, which is kind of part of the reason I think that the Starlight Rare access code will be propped up in price long term. Everything else, for collection purposes, I'm glad that the prices are pretty low. Like I said, F-Zero, great to get at $5. I still don't know what these two cards do, but let me know if you know, or if either of these are good pickups. Chaos Space is an absolutely great pickup for under $4. This card will do well long term, assuming it doesn't get banned, but they look really, really good. That's all I really wanted to cover in Battles of Legend. But moving on real quick here at OTS pack, I wanted to take a look at the ultimate rare prices. We're looking at 70 or a little under 70 for Ray, which is not bad at all. But they did just lose Mystic Mine, and I think to be really competitively viable right now, they kind of need one copy of Mystic Mine. So that's going to hurt for sure. But I'll be interested to see if they can continue to put up some good builds. They are going to get one of the decks that will probably be caught in the crosshairs of the Macrocosmo stuff, because they really do need their Ray Engrave. So that's unfortunate for them. Winter Cherries, 38, pretty good. I think these are great too, long term to have. All the Ghost Scrolls, if you can get them in high rarities, is generally good. I haven't seen them perform poorly unless they get a high rarity reprint, but still, then they still hold pretty good value. Alibur at 41s. Wouldn't be surprised if this dips lower, but just depends on if this deck can stay viable. This deck also kind of gets hit by Macrocosmos, not as bad as Tearlaments, I don't think, but well, definitely not as bad as Tearlament, but they definitely could be caught in the crosshair as well. So something to look out for. Definitely consider side decking, back row removal this format. I can't tell you how important that's going to be, or just siding some kind of spell and trap negation or removal. I think even for Tearlaments, you should maybe look into play or siding some of the heralds that negate spell and traps. I know they're kind of clunky, but having them in the side deck, I think for Tearlaments specifically, like the deck is so good that your side deck doesn't really change much at all. In my experience from playing so far with the deck, it pretty much can just run over most decks. But one thing you have to look out for is back row with Tearlaments. So I think you do have Crime, which can negate spell and traps, so that's good. But I'm also probably going to side some purple and green heralds just in case if I run into one of these decks that's playing Macrocosmos or Dimensional Fissure. But that's just personal play style. That's probably not the best way to go about it. There's probably better ways. Cosmic Cyclone's definitely going to be helpful. Of course, like your Harpy's Feather Dust or Lightning Storm, stuff like that. It's completely up to you. Other than that, all the super rares are kind of under $2 at this point. I don't know if I haven't seen people playing the Neko Main King as much recently. People are still kind of on Scattershot though. But yeah, I think that's going to be all for this market watch. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or any cards that you want me to look at in the next market watch. I probably won't be back on until after Thanksgiving, just because I am traveling 2 states over to visit family. But I'm looking forward to getting back and getting back into the format and seeing how things shake out. Oh yeah, I guess before I do leave, as far as the ban list, I think tier limits are still going to be, tier 1, if not close to tier 0. I don't think that really changes much. I don't think the ban list is going to do as much as Konami thinks it's going to do. And one of the reasons I think that is because if you look at the OCG, they've had Macrocosmos and Dimensional Fissure, I believe both at 3 for a while, and I haven't seen those show up in decks. And, people didn't really use that against tier limits except for, maybe Flunderies and stuff. But I don't think it's going to change the format much. I think the format's going to be pretty similar. Maybe just have more rogue contenders playing Macrocosmos and stuff. That's one of the things you're going to have to look out for. But other than that, I think if you're playing tier limits, you don't really have much to worry about other than just strategizing your side deck. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.